When Beerus was first introduced so many years ago and convinced to go to Earth in search of the Super Saiyan god of legend, he inevitably met Goku, who fit the description of a Super Saiyan, also having defeated Frieza. However, what he truly lacked was the might of godly power very different from the ones that mortals know. Even after going through the Super Saiyan God ritual involving 5 other Saiyans, Goku still wasn't exactly what Beerus had been hoping for, though he showed a potential that was highly unexpected out of a bunch of mortals to both him and Whis, causing them all to be spared. As Dragon Ball Super progressed, Goku as well as Vegeta overcame obstacle after obstacle, growing stronger every step of the way until eventually they were both recognized by Whis as potential gods, as well as garnering the attention of the Grand Priest and Zeno. Now that Moro has been defeated, the transgressions of the entire Galactic Patrol prison saga have pushed Vegeta's power to spiritual levels, and Goku goes on to finally master Ultra Instinct. A few years have passed in the storyline post Dragon Ball Super Moro in a separate timeline all its own, and in these past years, Goku has taken it upon himself to train and mentor his most recent friend, Broly. This is an original fan manga by Monty Black and Jordan Lee called Dragon Ball Super Jiren vs Broly, and as the name states, Goku has inevitably orchestrated a match between the two, which was then set up with the help of the gods and Grand Priest. Unfortunately, at the Grand Priest's instruction, this match was then promoted to a death match that Jiren dominated in early on. Jiren eventually demonstrated that he too possessed the power of Ultra Instinct. Broly, even with his endless Saiyan might, eventually did fall to Ultra Instinct Jiren in one of the most brutal clashes I've ever seen in Dragon Ball. So much so that even in the presence of the Grand Priest and Omni King, Goku intervened and prevented Jiren from killing Broly. In a clash between two Ultra Instinct masters now, Jiren was determined to go all out as to not get bested by Goku again, but in the end, Jiren's pride worked against him as Goku insisted to him that there was so much more out there for them to obtain beyond Ultra Instinct. In a burst of limit-breaking power, Goku, before all of our eyes, ascended to something only he possessed, known as Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan, to the awe of everyone spectating. Even Whis states that this power may rival even the angels at this point. Goku, no longer on the offensive, rushes Jiren at blazing speeds, evading all of his attacks and crushing him with a single compressed punch to the gut. As Jiren kneels before Goku, he can't believe that this Saiyan has done it again somehow, broken his limits beyond recognition and achieved something thought impossible, as Whis comments that it seems that Super Saiyan is activating on its own within Goku's Ultra Instinct. Finally regaining consciousness, seeing Goku like this, and hearing his words to Jiren, awoke something within Broly as he recalled to the days he and Goku spent training together, and all of the things he witnessed Goku do, like explaining Super Saiyan Blue and even Ultra Instinct. As Chile remembers the senzu bean that Goku gave them long ago, the Grand Priest does grant her permission if she wishes to go give it to Broly, and then he teleports her right next to him. When Chile feeds the senzu bean to Broly, immediately his power is restored, but something else begins to happen as well. Taking all of Goku's wisdom and advice into account from all of their training, Broly forgoes his anger in harnessing power through rage and instead ascends to a much more controlled and much more powerful looking form, accented with a greenish blue hair and aura. Even more mysteriously, however, is the blinding orb of energy centered in the middle of his chest as Broly finally gets back to his feet in order to finish his battle. Dragon Ball Super Jiren vs Broly is back, and I know you guys are excited, so be sure to hit both Monty and Jordan with a follow on Twitter for updates on everything they're up to in the future. If you haven't already, be sure to have those notifications turned on by clicking the bell icon down below to never miss an upload as soon as they go live. And if you have been enjoying all of the anime content recently, consider leaving a like on this video as well. It really helps out with getting the video seen and more eyes on the manga even. Don't forget to follow on both Twitch and Twitter to stay up with me and all anime related content, guys. Without further ado, as Broly stands before everyone in his new form, Chile is stunned to see this more refined looking version of him now. absent of the anger he possessed prior, as she stutters, "Broly?" In a very familiar pose, Broly turns to look at her and just smirks, signifying that he is alright and in complete control right now. Chile is delighted that he's alright as Whis utters, "Could this be the true legendary Super Saiyan God?" Beerus agrees that Broly definitely looks like a deity right now, but the question is, can his body handle containing all of that energy? Well, this fight could have served to toughen him up and get his body to this point, Whis says. Broly isn't normal in terms of energy. That amount of power, it's hard to imagine that any mortal could contain it. As Broly turns his attention to the battlefield, Goku disappears and then reappears right in front of him, as Broly displays a much more slender build in this form. Goku examines his new form and then bursts with excitement as he exclaims, "Broly, this is amazing! You really did it! You gained control, I knew you could do it." Beerus comments that it is extraordinary that Broly could pull off something like this. He jumps straight into what appears to be the mastered variation of Super Saiyan Blue, he says. His control over divine energy seems to rival even Goku's. "If you ask me," Whis comments, "it's more of a beautiful Saiyan color." At any rate, he goes on, "It seems Broly was pushed by the motivation to impress his master." Why does that seem so familiar, Beerus says, as he hazily remembers another Saiyan with such devotion elsewhere. "It's also a good thing that the wound on his back was healed," Whis says. "It probably would have been much more difficult to contain all that energy with a hole in his body. That probably stifled Broly's motivation to even try this before now as well." This is when Velmont's jaw drops as he draws attention to the massive orb of energy centered on Broly's torso, asking, "What is that light?" Whis explains that the Super Saiyan transformation requires them to concentrate their energy to one spot in the body. The god forms are the product of raising their ki while containing it, creating a concentration effect of sorts. So that light on his chest is a mass of concentrated energy, so much so that it's visible to the naked eye. Although it does seem that the area Broly is storing his energy in is a bit higher than usual, as it's typically center mass. "That's ridiculous," Velmont roars, refusing to believe another mortal to be stronger than Jiren. This is when Jiren finally begins to get back to his feet, saying, "So this power, it's all your own and greater than before without having to rely on Ultra Instinct." "Let's test that out," he says, as Broly readies himself. Jiren begins to charge, but is interrupted by someone stopping the fight before it even begins. Goku stops them momentarily as he asks Chile if she still has that other sensu bean he gave to them, to which she replies, "Yeah." He does ask for it back as they assume it to be for him, but of course, knowing Goku, this is almost never the case. Goku pitches the sensu bean to Jiren as he catches it, causing Chile to erupt in confusion with Goku's antics. However, no one, not even Broly seemingly, have any problem with this, as Broly actually looks eager for Jiren to be back at full strength. Jiren's full power immediately returns to him, as even he's shocked at the sensu bean's regenerative speeds. Goku places his hand on Chile's shoulder in order to teleport the both of them out of the way of the battle, as Goku says, "Alright, you guys are doing great, and Broly, remember, no matter what happens, I'm proud of you," he says. Broly sees his teacher and Chile off with a smile as they instant transition back to the spectators. Ultra Instinct Jiren and legendary Super Saiyan God Broly begin their battle once more, with Jiren wielding blinding speed once again in his charge at Broly, whose calm demeanor doesn't change a bit. Jiren unleashes a devastating barrage of high-speed Ultra Instinct attacks at Broly, again as Broly just stands there, almost as if ignoring the attacks. "Broly, what are you doing?" Goku yells at him. "Why are you just standing there?" Jiren is moving at a high speed that would dazzle you to the point where it could seem like a blur to a certain degree, Whis states. "It'll feel like you're blind for a moment as he escapes your sight." Broly, however, is unmoved by any of Jiren's attacks really, even stating that his strikes tickle more than anything, as Whis notices the problem within Jiren's attacks now as well. He continues to attack with each strike doing negligible damage, if any at all, to Broly. Jiren has seen a power yet again beyond his own, he says, and this time without relying on divine technique. This is something natural to Broly. All of a sudden, a crushing punch is delivered square to the face of Jiren through all of his high-speed attacks, so quick that not even he could detect it. In that one single punch, Jiren is sent soaring at a speed that simply causes him to look as if he vanished in midair. Broly's power rids him of the need to rely on Ultra Instinct now, and all that power belongs to his very being. This is causing Jiren to have trouble letting go of his emotions, Whis says. The spectators are shocked that Jiren simply seemed to vanish from a single punch, as even Velmot asks, "Where is Jiren?" Vados comments that it seems like he was sent light years away from that punch, almost like a shooting star. "This is starting to remind me of the sparring sessions back home," Whis says joyfully. Ultra Instinct is of course the standard for us back home, and yet we still must hone our strengths and grow. It doesn't stop there. Broly readies himself knowing the battle isn't over yet, and almost as if right on cue, a light shows itself getting closer and closer back to the battlefield. Jiren propels himself at a blinding speed back at Broly, however, his punch, even with so much power and speed behind it as well as Ultra Instinct, doesn't even budge Broly. Jiren looks up at his opponent stunned as he wonders, was relying on that form so much a mistake? As he backs off of Broly, he begins to tremble as the magnitude of the gap in their power now, even with Ultra Instinct, finally starts to set in. This energy, this power, he says, it was all yours naturally? "Hey Jiren," Goku barks from behind them as Jiren turns around. "Have you ever tried to hold in all of that ki that you have and raise it to see what happens?" he asks. "Honestly, your energy is so thick that it literally radiates like heat. Even Broly doesn't have something like that going on. If you can contain and control all that power, your power, I bet you could do something pretty special," he says to Jiren. Jiren drops his head in humility as he tells Goku, "I wanted you to be wrong all along. When you bested me using Ultra Instinct," he goes on, "I thought that only the peak of power could best me." Jiren's ki begins to calm itself as his aura grows smaller and more contrast. "You believed all along that I could achieve something beyond that," Jiren says to Goku. "Thank you. Thank you for believing in me and reminding me of who I really am," he says. Jiren's ki that had been calmly manifesting itself around his being has finally concentrated and condensed into something that's truly great. In a truly magnificent show of lights, Jiren's aura condenses within himself, taking Goku's advice as the burning heat of his power is calmed. As the light radiating throughout the galaxy grows smaller and smaller, it perches itself on the torso of none other than Jiren. Jiren has gone on to completely master the depths of his own power now, taking the burning heat of his power and completely controlling and containing it within himself to create this new supernova form that seems to be pretty exclusive to him. In the next chapter of Dragon Ball Super Jiren vs Broly, these two mortals face off in a final battle using powers only unique to themselves. Legendary Super Saiyan God Broly versus Jiren in his perfected supernova state will be one of the final two chapters for this series, so if you guys don't want to miss them, be sure to have those notifications turned on to know as soon as the video goes live. If you haven't already, consider leaving a like on this one as well, it really helps out a ton. Be sure to follow on both Twitch and Twitter to stay up with me and all anime related content and updates, guys. But anyways, have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys.